freedom, and freedom in the context of purpose. And just because I like to look at these things, and you already said our purpose is peace, the peace of God. And I want us to be thinking now in terms of recognizing our purpose by realizing who we really are and what it is we are created to be and do and express in this world. And I have to mention, because I was spending a little bit of that meditation appreciating Betty Lou, that we had our 30th anniversary this last week. Friday. And, you know, I guess it was Lyle, one of our grandkids said, "So do you celebrate your anniversary?" And I had to think for a minute, because we tend not to celebrate, you know, special days. And what I said to her was, just about every day. Because that's true. And so, you know, when April 10th comes around, it isn't like, oh wow, 30 years has been wonderful. It's sort of like it's been wonderful every day along the way. And it's the old thing of, if you always leave every moment complete, then you never have any regrets. I mean, if you disappeared from this earth in the next second, you wouldn't think, oh, I wish I'd have said, or I wish I'd have done, or oh my gosh, it wasn't our anniversary, so I didn't celebrate it yet. It's just staying up to date. All right, that's a little sidetrack, but I appreciate you, and I appreciate this opportunity to serve together. So I, for whatever reason, want to keep things simple this morning. So I want to look at freedom, kind of the dichotomy or the juxtaposition of egoic freedom and spiritual freedom. And another way to look at that, for me at any rate, is the idea of freedom from versus the idea of freedom to, or freedom for. See, in a worldly sense, basically freedom from the world involves a form of rebellion. It involves reaction. It involves resistance. It involves judgment. So freedom from the world, or any aspect or any condition of this world, is still at the effect of the world. I don't know if you can get this, but our freedom from the world is still controlled or defined by the world itself. So if I talk about freedom from illusion, because some of us believe that some of this at least is an illusion, and we've made it up. The freedom from illusion is still a condition of that illusion. Now, I've spent many, many years as a healing professional. And what I'll tell you is that you are never completely healed of anything until you have absolutely no memory of having been anything other than healed and whole. So you're not healed if you are a recovering something. Because the illusion itself still is defining your condition, your freedom. Even if it's, I'm free from the illusion. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but this is important for me. Because so many times, I've lived a life of comparison. I mean, I used to be a competitive athlete. And so, always, because I ran, there were times. You know, you always knew how fast you ran. And so it was always, okay, great. Now, did I run faster or did I run slower than my best? And freedom is just running and enjoying the running. It's when I forgot that there was anything other than just the moment of flying through the trails or around the track. Now, freedom for God is knowing nothing other than God. Now, we've just come through this Easter time. So in the context of the resurrection, what I want to remind us is that the resurrection is not about overcoming the world. See, Jesus didn't die and then resurrect. The truth is, Jesus didn't die. Now, we've made it up because of our worldly frame of reference, that he died and he overcame the world. We made it into a triumphal story. We've made it into an overcoming story. But it's not. Do you mourn when you change your clothes in the morning? Sometimes, yes. But you understand what I'm saying? It was not a big deal to Jesus because he didn't die. It was a big deal to us because it scares the heck out of us. But he was here to say, you don't have anything to be afraid of. Now, most of us believe in this world so much. We are so convinced of its reality that we forget who we really are. So I'm going to read you a story this morning. And I spent a week with my grandkids. I got to read stories. You know, what can I say? I have it here someplace. And it's a fable. It's a fable of the eagle and the chicken. Now, how many of you have heard this fable before? Good. Those of you who have heard it before will hear it differently. Those of you who haven't heard it, I want you to hear it. And by the way, this was written in a book called Walk Tall, You Are a Daughter of God by a lady named Jamie Glenn. So let me read you this fable. A fable is told about an eagle who thought he was a chicken. When the eagle was very small, he fell from the safety of his nest. A chicken farmer found the eagle, brought him to the farm, and raised him in a chicken coop among his many chickens. The eagle grew up doing what chickens do, living like a chicken and believing he was a chicken. Anybody relate to this so far? Now, a naturalist came to the chicken farm to see if what he had heard about the eagle acting like a chicken was really true. He knew that an eagle is king of the sky. He was surprised to see the eagle strutting around the chicken coop, pecking at the ground and acting very much like a chicken. The farmer explained to the naturalist that this bird was no longer an eagle. He was now a chicken because he had been trained to be a chicken, and he believed that he was a chicken. Now, the naturalist knew that there was more to this great bird than his actions showed. He was born an eagle and had the heart of an eagle, and nothing could change that. The man lifted the eagle onto a fence surrounding the chicken coop and said, "Eagle, you're an eagle! Stretch forth your wings and fly!" Well, the eagle moved slightly. He looked at the man, then he looked down at his home among the chickens in the chicken coop where he was comfortable. He jumped off the fence and continued doing what chickens do. The farmer said, "See, I told you he was a chicken." All right, the naturalist came back the next day and he tried again to convince the farmer and the eagle that the eagle was born for something greater. He took the eagle to the top of the farmhouse and he spoke to him. He said, "Eagle, you're an eagle. You belong in the sky, not in the earth. So stretch your wings and fly." Well, the large bird looked at the man, then again down at the chicken coop. Then he jumped from the man's arm, onto the roof, and then down into the chicken coop. Now, knowing what eagles are really about, the naturalist asked the farmer to let him try one more time. He returned the next morning to the chicken farm and took the eagle and the farmer some distance away to a high mountain. There are clues here. They could not see the farm nor the chicken coop from this new setting. The man held the eagle on his arm and pointed into the sky where the bright sun was beckoning above. He spoke, "Eagle, you're an eagle. You belong in the sky. Stretch your wings and fly." This time the eagle stared skyward into the bright sun, straightened his large body, stretched his massive wings. His wings moved slowly at first, and then surely and powerfully. And with a mighty screech of an eagle, he flew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to refer to that, but I'm going to move on now. I'm going to look at water for a moment. Thank you. Everyone says, "What is all this small print on here? How am I supposed to understand this?"
I love this. Thank you. I love the teaching.
You can look at this later when you have your magnifying glass. But I want to talk a little about water in general. If you look at a river, without being too anthropomorphic about it, recognize that that river does not have a self-determined purpose or motivation. It's just flowing. It's doing what rivers do. When we dam up or divert that river for irrigation or to create electricity, we interrupt the natural flow of the river. And that changes the nature of the river. It's no longer the same river. Now our problem, in lots of contexts, but a lot of our problem in this world is we're busy trying to adapt nature to our own convenience, rather than adapting our own responses to the way nature presents itself. You know, in the old days, we were nomadic. We moved around for a reason. You know, sometimes it was good food here, sometimes it was over there. Sometimes there was water here, sometimes there was no water here. What we've done now is we've made up this concept of ownership. And so now what happens is we're letting ownership keep us stuck where we probably shouldn't be at this moment in time. Now, the Vedas, the Vedic texts, say that there's only 2 times when God laughs. I know the Jewish say, man plans, God laughs. That's another time. Yeah, it's okay. But in the Vedic text, it said God laughs when man thinks that he has something to do with how long he's going to live on this planet. And the second time he laughs is when he sees us saying that we own something. Now, we have the same problem with God as we have with nature. I mean, if you really look at it, what we want is we want God to be who we want God to be, rather than wanting ourselves to be who God created us to be. So on this yellow piece of paper, I put a little thing in here out of the I Ching. The I Ching is called the Book of Changes. And if you look through the I Ching, there are all these hexagrams, which just are different configurations of lines and stuff. But it goes through all of the possible conditions that we can experience as things change in this world, recognizing that things in this world change. And so in hexagram number 60, it's actually entitled Self-Restraint. By the way, I want you to notice, you're going to recognize this. This is the 5th unity principle, guys. Okay? So we stole it from them or somebody. You know, truth is true no matter who says it.
Yes.
There really is nothing new under the sun. So in this hexagram, what it says, to know is to do. And to do is to be. If our knowledge or spirituality and morality cannot be manifested in our daily lives through our thoughts, attitudes, and behaviors, it means that we do not truly know them. regardless of our external circumstances, we should keep our virtue constant. And it goes on to say, the reason that all creatures die is because they allow their external environment to continually change their nature and virtue. People are tempted by the outside world and do not feel contentment and sufficiency within their own being. To be virtuous means that we follow the constant middle way, not allowing ourselves to run into extremity. We spontaneously maintain all of our simple daily activities within our energy track of life and follow the universal principle of normalcy. Now, that begs the question, at least for a mind like mine, so what's this universal principle of normalcy? So there's another one of the hexagrams in the I Ching. It's number 29, you have it on there. And actually, it's interesting, the title of that one is The Abyss. And it really refers to what happens when we don't remember the truth. But in that particular hexagram, it has the 9 natural virtues of water. And this is important, I believe, for us to pay attention to in our own lives. The first is be content with a low position. Water always goes to the lowest spot first, right? Now this, so we don't get mistaken, is not false humility, oh, I'm nothing, you know, that kind of a thing. It's not competing with anyone or anything. Not trying to be more than we are or someplace that we are not. The second is remain profound. It says, like the ocean, it is quiet, it is deep, and it is undisturbed. Water gives generously, with no expectation of return. Number 4, speak faithfully. And that really means to live and to tell the highest truth. I like this one, govern gently. And it says in there, persistent gentleness overcomes even the hardest obstacles. You know, it's the old Grand Canyon story, you know, it's the old anything where water over a period of time will wear away the hardest rock. Not because it chips it, not because it blows it up, but because it just wears it down. Work capably and adaptably. And what that means is to maintain your direction and your true nature regardless of what the circumstances are. And that goes right into number 7 for me, which says work, it says take action opportunely. I like that. Take action opportunely. Flow into openings and around obstacles. You've often heard me say the shortest distance between 2 points is a crooked line that goes around all the obstacles. That's the way of water. Never fight. You neither attack nor resist. And the last one, remain ocean-bound. Seek to reunite with the whole or with the one. At the end of that hexagram it says, to follow the way of water is to return to one's spiritual essence. I looked at this and I realized that water has 3 forms. Lots of variations on the theme, but there are 3 basic forms. There's vapor, there's liquid, and there's solid. And each form of water has its own purpose and its own value. Of course, then it strikes me how often we want to be a different form than we appear to be at this moment in time. Not realizing that maybe the form that we are right now is exactly our purpose and exactly our value, whether we like it or not, from an egoic point of view. See, I've often said that all disease all illness is caused by a lack of flow. A lack of flow of something, of energy, of blood, of lymph, of air, but it's a lack of flow. So remembering that we want to ultimately return to flow, a couple of things. When we're feeling stagnant, stuck, like a little pool of water just there collecting slime and growing mosquitoes, know that the vapor quality of water will cause us eventually to evaporate and return to the flow. And we're in the middle of this however many year drought that we go through, however many other years that go through. So we know the value of having snow and ice pack up in the mountains. But what I want to remind us is that that snow and that ice pack has to melt. It has to, we actually have to release, we have to let go of holding things in form in order for their benefit or the value to be achieved, to be realized. So, closing this up here, freedom for me. Freedom really is about allowing things to be as they are, allowing things to flow where they're flowing, allowing things to take the form that they're currently taking, not resisting. And freedom's about letting go. It's about letting go of those cages we built around ourselves to keep ourselves contained. It's about letting go of the thoughts and the beliefs that really imprison us. It's about letting go of the self-concepts that we have made that limit us. And freedom is most of all about being willing to see not who we want to be or who we think we ought to be, but to see who we are created to be. Freedom's really about allowing ourselves to be perfectly guided in every moment, in every form, to be love in our world. So thank you.